Okay, so this is the second part. You can see we've got another person with us here. She's promised me she's going to be here whilst we do this, and she's going to do the exercises with us, aren't you, Livy? So the first thing we've got to do is lay down. So you can lay down on the mat and I'll lay down just in front of the mat. So we need to bend our knees, have our feet flat to the floor, and we want our feet hip distance apart. So remember, we bring our knees together, feet together, turn the feet out like Mary Poppins, then the heels out, hands are resting by the side. Take a moment to look up, check that your eye alignment is looking up towards the ceiling. We don't want to be looking behind and we don't want to be looking in front. So if we're looking in front, lift the chin. If we're looking behind, just nod the chin. Okay, remember that pelvic elevator that we talked about? The pelvic floor should be engaged, the abdominal belt's engaged. Hands by the thighs. All we're going to do is begin to lift it into pelvic bridge. When we take it up, we're then going to bring it down. Olivia, you need to bend your knees and bring your feet flat to the floor.
I'm just about to talk to you about bending.
You can't. Okay, right, so feet hip distance apart. So, nice and steady. We're going to lift, tip the tailbone up to the ceiling, begin to lift the pelvis up, and then hold into pelvic bridge. Eyes are looking up towards the ceiling. So we lift up, and then we very gently bring the upper back, the mid back, and the lower back down. So the pelvic bridge is what I'm doing now, Olivia. So if you have a look at what Mummy's doing, you can see what you need to do. So we're lifting the pelvis up nice and steady. This is strengthening the core, strengthening the back. So coming up.
One of the things around my head.
So nice and steady, just lifting up. And remembering, if we're feeling the ribs begin to splay and they're coming up too high, we make that range smaller. We make that movement smaller. So nice and steady, controlled, coming up. And down. So we're going to do just 4 more of these, but on the final one, I want you to hold it up. So remember, breathing in as you lift up, breathing out as you bring it up.
I fell asleep. I just fell asleep.
Okay, Livy, while Mummy's filming, we've got to stay nice and quiet, haven't we? Because we don't want to distract the lovely people who are doing this workout. That's it, good girl. So, nice and steady. Now, like on this final one, let's take it up and let's hold it in place. So we're holding it in place. Holding that bridge nice and strong. So you're going to feel it in the bum, the back, the core, the thighs. Now, can we lift one heel up and then bring it down? Then lift the other heel up, bring it down. So we're alternating the heels up and down. You can bring your hands onto your hips to make sure the hips stay level. Nice and steady. Controlled. All the time, keeping the hips level, keeping that nice diagonal plane the same. So just keep going. For 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Now can we take both heels up and hold? Hold it there just for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the heels down. Gently bring the upper back, the mid back, the lower back down. Bring the knees together, the feet together, and gently roll side to side. Livy, do you remember that conversation we had, that if you were coming in you have to be quiet because Mum's teaching? Okay, so nice and gently, just rolling side to side. Okay, what we're going to do next is we're going to roll onto our side, so we're doing that side leg series. So I'm going to roll onto my side facing you. I'll just move these. So remember, you can use a block and a cushion. Okay, so we're laying on our side. Now remember, if you've got shoulder issues, just lay like this with the cushion and the block. If you haven't got shoulder issues, you may just want to take your cushion and lay with your arm long and lay like so. Or you may not even have a cushion, you might have it like this. Just make sure your head's not dropping down. So I prefer to have my shoulders, I prefer to be in this position. I find it more comfortable for my shoulders. So the shoulders are on top of one another, knees are bent, And the legs are at 90 degrees. So the knees are in line with the hips and the ankles are below the knees. We've got one hand just in front, giving us that extra support, and the other arm's just extended out or up above. If we want to, we can take our hand on our hip, rest it on our bum, or we can have it up in the air to challenge us more. So, nice and steady, all we're going to do, feet are together, take the feet slightly underneath your bum, just a fraction, and remember, just be conscious the hips don't want to be rocking forward or rocking back, so we want them to be directly over one another. We're going to lift the feet up nice and high, and then we're very gently going to open the knee and then close, but keeping the feet in the same place. So nice and steady. And if you wanted to make this harder, you could take the band and tie it around the mid-thigh. But I'm going to add more tension as we do the exercise. So you having a go at this, Olivia?
No, maybe. I fell asleep a bit.
Okay, well you just have a sleep while Mum is finishing this off. So nice and steady, controlled. Just for 4 and 3 and 2. And I want you to just hold this last one. Hold it here. Keeping those feet in the same place. There is always that possibility that the feet are going to begin to slowly creep down. So keeping them in the same place. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Give them a pat. Give them a rub. Keep, bless you, keep the top leg bent. Let the bottom leg straighten out. Now we can either rest the foot like so. So knee comes down onto the floor. You're going to get a tilt in your hips. So you need to try and bring it back as much as you can so the hips are stacked. Or you can bend the leg. And that leg, it might be in this place. Or, obviously, the higher up you can bring it, you can use it as a support and take your hand and just wrap it around. But you don't have to. You can have it here, here. So hand resting on the floor, hand on the hip, one hand in the air. So nice and steady. We're just lifting up the bottom, up and down. So nice and steady. Controlled. Taking our time, inhaling and exhaling. Yes, Olivia.
Can I sit up while you're finishing the video?
You can, just you've got to not be a distraction for people whilst, because people are watching this and they're doing their workout, Livy. So you have to sit quietly, okay? Yeah, can you manage that? Good girl, thank you. So nice and steady, last 4. And on the final one, I want you to hold it up for me. You're just going to hold it here. Can we have a little pulse here, just for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. And very gently bring it down. Take that top leg down. Bring yourself into a nice straight line. Again, being conscious that you're not rolling forward. So hips are stacked, knees are stacked, ankles are stacked. And imagine someone is pulling this top leg away. So we want it to be a little bit longer. So we get this hollowing underneath, hands underneath. And then very gently, this time, all we're going to do, just 8 lifts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then relax. Bring them down. We're rolling onto our front now. So we're coming over onto our front. And you can pop your cushion and your block aside, or you may want to rest your forehead on them. One hand on top of the other, and we let the head relax. So I want you to take your feet as wide as your mat, so your feet are nice and wide. Let your forehead rest on the back of the hands if it's not resting on a block or a cushion. Gluteal bracing, so all we're going to do is squeeze the bum cheeks together. Let the knees, the ankles turn in. We're really squeezing. Imagine you've got a 50-pound note, you're clutching with your bum cheeks. And then we let it rotate out. The legs to the feet that don't leave the floor. So we're just squeezing in and out. Squeezing in and squeezing out. So working the glutes. And remember, when we're doing this exercise, this is a good one to place the hands on the bum and check if the muscles in the glutes are working equally. Because if one of those muscles isn't working, or is working but let's say less efficiently than another muscle, then we know that we've got potentially a muscle that we need to strengthen up, because we've got those 4 sling systems, remember, 2 across the front, 2 across the back. Those sling systems of how the muscles work in the body. There's like a sequential order to how we move. If one of those muscles isn't working effectively, then the whole sling system isn't working effectively. So knowing that an area is glutes, and finding out that one of those glutes is weak, we can work on that, make it stronger, and then help enable the sling system to work more effectively. So last one, let's take it into that gluteal brace and let's hold it there as tight as we can, really squeeze so those bum cheeks are having a really good smooch. Olivia, can we be quiet? I don't know what you're touching.
I was going to get 2 of my Christmas books to look at.
Okay. So nice and steady, we're squeezing, we're holding, and then let it release. Let it release. Walk your feet so they're hip distance apart. Come up onto your forearms. So nice and steady, shoulders relaxed. So we're starting here, and all we're going to do is take a deep breath. As exhale, we're going to lift, slide the hands out, and then gently draw ourselves back down. So we lift, looking forward, and then draw it back down. Lift, looking forward, draw it back down. So breathing in as we lift, breathing out. Last 2. Last one. Gently come down, hold it in this position for a moment. Take the hands down in front, one on top of the other, let the head relax. This time what we're going to do is we're going to bend both legs. As they come up, you're going to flex your feet, and then you're going to take them both down. So we flex, point, and down together. So bend, they're pointing, they're flexing, they're pointing, they're down. So they stay in that point as they go down. So up, flex, point, and down. 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 4 more. Up, flex, point, and down. Up, flex, point, and down. Up, flex, point, and down. Last 2. Up, flex, point, and down. Last one. Up, flex, point, and down. I still can't count, even though I'm doing 5 without the distractions of a class. So nice and steady. This time, take your hands by your sides, eyes and nose looking down. Again, remembering you could have a cushion or a block to just rest your forehead on if you so wish. This time, so palms facing up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift the chest, draw the shoulder blades back together, and then down. So the head comes up, not very high. Draw the shoulder blades together, and then bring it down. And of course, we're breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, breathing out. So taking your time. Remember, if it feels too much with the lift, we could just be taking the shoulder blades together and down, keeping the head down if we've got any issues going on with the neck. Last 3. Last 2. And last 1. And then relax. Let the head turn in one direction, let it relax there for a moment. And then very gently let the head rotate to the opposite side, let it relax there for a moment. We're going to come up onto all 4s after this. So bringing the head back to the centre, bring one hand by the chest, tuck your toes under. Remember, if coming up onto all 4s, if you've got any back issues, you can roll onto your side rather than doing this. We're going to push our bum back onto our heels. So we take a deep breath, make sure everything's engaged. Exhale, push up. So coming onto all 4s, hands beneath the shoulders, shoelaces towards the floor, core engaged, tailbone to the back of the room, shoulders joined slightly together. Remember, you are a perfect table. If I had my Sunday roast, I could rest it on your back, pour my gravy, and you wouldn't spill it anywhere. So, nice and steady. What we're going to do is, nice and controlled, you're going to take the opposite arm and leg out. You're going to hold it there nice and steady. So I can see in the mirror, I'm slightly out.
Hello.
Hi, Olivia. So nice and steady, we're holding it there. Control, drawing that belly button in towards the spine. Do you want to have a go at this, Livy?
I'm going my leg out here.
So that's the wrong side. So that hand goes down. So knees bent. Oof, okay. So abandon that. Stay in that position for me. We're just holding that one side. So you're distracting mummy. People are paying for these classes. They need to be able to do the workout and do it well, Liv. Mum's got to be on her best behaviour, and so are you. So nice and steady, bring it down. Let's change to the other side. If you really want to have your balance challenge, just have a 4.5-year-old do it next to you, toppling into you. That'll help. So nice and steady, hold it there. Eyes and nose looking down. Hips are staying level. Shoulders are staying level. Hold it. And then bring it down. Let's change to the other side again. So nice and steady. Out we go. Holding it. I think Liv's doing a down dog from yoga. She's a bit of a yoga girly. And then bringing it down. You do it. So nice and steady. Holding it. Taking our time. Keeping that straight. Remember that pelvic floor's engaged. That abdominal belt's engaged. We're looking one more time on the right.
Mum, I have to balance with my head on the cat.
Well, that's not a good idea because putting all that weight into your head's dangerous. So nice and steady. And bring it down. Last time. Opposite side. Holding. Shoulders level, hips level. Really good to do this if you have a mirror around you. Or if you're unsure whether you're doing some of these forms right, just video it and then you can always send it to any one of us. Or just have a look over yourself. You might be able to pick out on whether your hips are not right. So bring it back. This time, all we're going to do, I'm just going to walk a bit further along. So we're in that table position again. Tailbone is tucked under and looking towards the back of the room. Shoulders joined together. We're just going to extend one leg, tap behind and bring it back. So tap behind, plank preparation. Now remember, if we've got wrist issues, you may want to come down onto your forearms, which does mean your bum's going to be a little bit in the air as you do this, or rest on the knuckles, but making sure the wrists and forearms are in alignment. So one more on the right, one more on the left. This time, can we take the right leg back? Hold it in place. Now let's take the left leg back and hold in place. Now if this feels too much, just have the knees down and you're on that diagonal, okay? So nice and steady. Stay there for me. I'm just going to talk you through this. So making sure your bottom is not up in the air. Make sure you're not dropping the hips and pelvis. If you look under your body and you're on your toes, you should be able to see your toes, unless you've got a cake tummy like me going on at the moment, or you've got a top that's dropping down. If you're on the knees, same again, you should be able to see the knees, unless you've got your cake tummy like I have. I don't know, maybe I should call it cake lockdown tummy. because all we do is bake in his house, or a baggy t-shirt, but you should be able to see underneath. Eyes are looking down, but make sure the chin's not dropping into the chest, and make sure it's not jutting out and forward. And we're holding that position nice and steady, holding, controlled. It's a tough one on the plank. Just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down. Gently walking back. We're going to work the opposite leg side. So I'm going to take my cushion and block. So remember, place that there. So coming over onto your side. So shoulders on top of one another. Remember, if you don't have any shoulder issues, you may want to lay with the arm long. You may want a cushion in there. It's up to you. I personally prefer to have my head resting. I just feel like I get I've got dicky shoulders anyway, but I feel like I've got more stability. So the shoulders are stacked, the hips are stacked, the legs are at 90 degrees. So remember, we want the knee in alignment with the hip, and then what we want is the feet underneath the hips. Hand, the supporting hand can be resting on the floor, on the hip, or up in the air. If you want to make it more challenging, we're going to take our feet fractionally underneath, just fractionally, and then lift them up in the air. Core is engaged, abdominals are nice and strong, and we're lifting up and bring it down. I think Olivia is reading very quietly The Hungry Caterpillar. So you may hear it a little bit in the background. So just lifting up and down, nice and steady. Inhale, exhale. So inhale and exhale. Olivia? So when people are doing the classes and they're trying to concentrate on what mum is saying, if they can hear you whispering or speaking in the background, they may not be able to concentrate. What do you think to that?
I'm trying to fit this book.
I know, but you really wanted to come up here and help mum film.
Okay.
So nice and steady. Last 4. Last 3. Just showing you there's alternatives how you could be challenging it more. Keeping an eye the feet up in the air. Last one. Hold it up. Sorry, Olivia.
I really like the caterpillar.
Yeah, I know, and you can read it. You just need to read it a little bit quietly, honey. I'm so sorry, guys. So nice and steady. Holding it there. And then bring it down. Ooh, gee. So as we bring it down, we're taking the lower leg long. Top leg's coming over the top. We can have it on the floor. Be conscious of where your hips are because they're going to roll. So try and bring them back so they're still stacked. Or we can have that foot resting on the floor, leg straight. And that leg can be anywhere along here. You just want that foot fully on the floor. Or the closer you can bring it, then you can grab it and use it as a bit of an anchor. But don't worry if you can't do that. You could just have it here. That's absolutely fine. So nice and steady. All we're going to do is lift up and down. Lift up and down. Lift up and down. Up and down. Working the inner thigh. So nice and steady, controlled. Breathing in as you lift, breathing out as you bring it down. So just for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold at the top. Can we have a little pulse just for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. Bring it down. Very gently bring the legs on top of one another. And again, we need to imagine this top leg's been pulled away. So it's been drawn away. We're getting that little bit of hollowing. You could slip a piece of tracing paper underneath, hand on the floor, hip, long, up, whatever takes your fancy. Both legs this time come up and down. Just for 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and hold and then relax, bring it down, bend, give it a pat, give it a rub, very gently take one hand in front of the chest, gently push up to seated onto your side, nice and steady. Before we transition up, just hands on the knees, let us just rock the pelvis a few times, backwards and forwards. So we're going to come up, So nice and steady, we're just rocking it back and forth. So pelvic floor, abdominal belt engaged. That's very gently, come nice and tall, come over onto all fours, and then move onto the mat. So, toes tucked under behind you, walk your hands up. We're going to do that standing up like a rocket. I think as I do it, I'm going to disappear because I think the camera is quite low today, so I apologise. So, take your weaker leg in front of you. So, whichever is your weaker leg, take it in front. Okay, this is like it could be dangerous with us two here. So, the back leg, the toes tucked under at the back is going to give you assistance in that move. If we take the toes down, it's going to be more of a challenge, okay? So, pelvic floor engaged, abdominal belt engaged, hands by the side. We inhale up, stepping in and bringing the hands down. Yeah, well, I'm not quite as tall as you. So, feet hip distance apart. Sorry, it's only half my head. Give me a sassy walk. So let your arms swing out, legs swing out. So we've done everything floor-based today. Hopefully you enjoyed that bit of a different structure. Don't do that sassy walk because I don't know what that is. Exactly. So nice and steady.
It was a rocket jump, Mummy.
Oh, right, okay. So, yeah, don't do rocket jumps either. It sounds like it could be potentially dangerous. So, feet hip distance apart, tailbone under, pelvic floor engaged, shoulders back and down. I'm squatting down so you can see me. We're done. Well done. Thank you for the last 22 minutes of popping in. So this one promised me that she needed to be in the video and that she'll be super quiet. So I hope it wasn't too much of a distraction. Sometimes mum life in lockdown is, yeah. Okay, so take care. Bye.